Who would be a Wolves fan, eh?
On goes Paul. People might yet win it here for Wolves. Flash in the shot. What a goal!
Hello everyone, welcome to your latest Wolves Fancast match review show. I'm your host, Little Dan. On tonight's show, I've got with me Dean, Pricey and Big Rich. Hope you're all doing well. Thanks for joining us as always on the Wolves Fancast in association with the Sports Social Podcast Network and fcquiz.app. We're joining you on a Monday, which feels like a Sunday, on the back of Vitor Pereira going 3 games unbeaten as new head coach at Wolves, 7 points from 9. Couple of weeks ago, none of us would have even envisaged that was even a possibility. We were all sort of building our placard catalogue to fork out Dawson, and here we are a couple of weeks on, looking at hopefully going above Man United in a couple of weeks, who are 6 points behind us in the league table as they are currently losing 2-0 at home to Newcastle. It may be 3 or 4 last time. It was 2 last time I checked. It could be 3 or 4. Man United are in big trouble. Pricey, you went to the game at Tottenham yesterday. How was your day, bar the obviously positive result that we came away from with?
My first time at the new grounds. So it was a long old day, to be honest, because there was some rumblings of train strikes in the run up to the game. So we just got on the old Chiltern line down to Marylebone, and went to Camden pre-game. Saw Stu of this parish beforehand in the Wetherspoons.
Yeah, you've beat me. You've already beat me to it, Price, because you put out a scandalous comment on your Twitter yesterday that you were drinking with the most handsome member of the Fancast, and I'm not sure what Dean and Rich think about that, but I ain't buying that. You can all let us know in the comments section who you think the most handsome Fancast member is, but it ain't flipping stupid. I'm not having anywhere near that. He's not even top 3. And I'm not even flirting with some of the men in the group.
I must have missed a bit off the tweet. It said most handsome member of Fancast at that time in the vicinity. There's only me in there, so
there you go.
Okay,
great caveat. Dean's got a lot of headroom, trying to appear littler than Dan. Is that a challenge?
I think I'm guessing it's camera position. But Price was clearly on about himself in that tweet. Just wanting to give it the humble brag.
He is. Price has clearly got one of the best skin moisturising regimes within the Fancast, because he's like 40, looking like 28 at the moment. Don't go younger than 28. I ain't flirting with that much, Pricey.
Saw the sacrificial lambs and fountain of youth that I've danced in over the years. Must help. But it was a good day. Good before the game. Like I say, it was in Camden beforehand, and then just realised when I got to Seven Sisters Station just how long of a walk it is from there to the bloody stadium. Just goes on forever, doesn't it? That walk from the station to the ground. And I jumped forward a bit. It was a nightmare getting out of the ground as well. Actually, at the end of the game, we didn't get back on the tube till well over 2.5 hours after the game. But it was a good day, great day, long day. Didn't get back till late, but it was all worth it for a decent result.
Yeah, we'll talk about the match more in depth as we progress with the show. Rich, tell us about your weekend, because you met a Fancast legend this weekend. Tell us about your weekend and who you spent it with.
I managed to, with an associate or friend of mine, managed to meet Ebanks Blake. So my life is complete with meeting Matt Murray and him. I don't think I need to worry about many more, but yeah, I cannot complain. It was awesome, really awesome. Probably one of the nicest blokes I've ever met, to be honest with you. He was quality, real quality, nice. Couldn't have asked for anything better from him. So yeah, couldn't be a better weekend, really. I've gone happy for a change.
I'm not leading this conversation into a lot of homoeroticness, but can you give us a bit more detail of why you were meeting Sylvan Ebanks Blake? It wasn't a Tinder date or whatever.
No, it wasn't a Tinder date. No, I managed to acquire an item from him. So yeah, through a friend of a friend. So yeah, pretty awesome, to be honest. But yeah, some behind me there. Can't even do my finger be there. So yeah, I'm pretty chuffed.
We were all mightily impressed with the Buckter jacket, weren't we, guys? Off air.
Yeah.
Definitely was.
Dean, give us a bit of an insight into your weekend, as obviously Wolves were away this weekend to Tottenham on the back of 2 wins. It's been a lively week, especially the win after Man United on Boxing Day.
Yeah, no, it's been good. Just consumed as much football, NFL, darts. It's literally been sports like overload the last weekend, all over Christmas. But I've only ever done the Tottenham Stadium for the NFL. I've never done it for a football game yet. So I was going to try and go to this one, but I just the way the dates felt, it just wouldn't happen. So managed to. But other than that, what else have we done this weekend? Just family stuff, really, mate. Watched football, watched NFL, and then went out with the girls and just come back from Illuminate, is it, where they have all the light trails and all that jazz. Done that this evening on the way. And I literally just come back in, got changed, and come on stream. So pretty boring, but all revs up again for next Monday night.
That's it. Just to thank you to reiterate. Just thank you for joining myself, Pricey, Rich, and Dean on tonight's show. You could be watching the football, you could be watching many TV series, but thank you for joining us on the Wolves Fancast. It's been a long 2024, so we appreciate your support. I'll come to you first, Dean. When you saw that the team lineup came out at 1:45 yesterday, and Vita had sprung quite a lot of rotation, bringing in Hwang, Bellegarde, obviously Ryan, and I said Ryan Ait-Nouri did play against Man United, didn't he? Strand Larsen was there, Guedes was there. What was your thoughts on that lineup?
I just thought rotation. I got the changes because obviously Spurs play a very high line, so that extra bit of pace with Hwang over Strand Larsen gives you that little bit extra. Bellegarde, again, is very much an enigma when it comes to Wolves, so you don't know if people either see what he's got or they just think he's absolutely useless. There's no middle ground with him. I still think he's not really been played where he was so good at Strasbourg. But again, he needs to be showing that little bit more when he does get his chances at the same time. So it's a bit of chicken and egg on that one. I was happy to the midfield two stay the same because that is our best midfield two, without a doubt. So it was quite a solid. It's only the front really they've been massively rotated. You still had the back line was only changed because of Totti being injured. You still had that kind of axis of Semedo and Doc that worked really well against United. So I was eager to see how that went. I think it was a bit funny how the back three lined up in the end. So you just expected Dawson to just slot in the middle and Bueno to shift over. But it did change a couple of times during the game as well. So it was a bit odd. But yeah, I think I was happy enough with it, I think. And then you saw the Spurs one and you see Dragassin's pass fit. So you thought you got into the game thinking it was Archie Gray and Bissouma as a back two. So you think, we can get at these. But then at the same time, the way they play, they've still got all that attacking prowess going forward. So they're still going to cause us problems. But I think I still looked at it and thought we can get something here. There was still a scope for us to get at them a bit. And as long as we played to our strengths, I think we'd be fine. But yeah, I was happy enough seeing the lineups come out.
Yeah, the lead up to the game was that Spurs were going to be massively depleted, but you look at their starting 11 there, you just look at that front four, Kulusevski, Brennan Johnson, Solanke and Son. It was never going to be an easy game there, but we've got a good record, haven't we, at the Tottenham Stadium. Price, what was your thoughts going into the game around 1:45 when the lineups came out?
Yeah, I think I was, to be honest, I think in the day before, or the day leading up to the game, I was completely suckered in by the news of Tottenham's injury list. So I went into the game with a massive, massive sense of optimism. Do you know what? It never actually dawned on me that we might rotate. I know that's pretty naive of me to think that, but when you think about it, it is the third game in just slightly over a week. But it just didn't really dawn on me. And I saw the lineup, so I thought, oh yeah, that would actually make a bit of sense because we put a lot of effort in the last two games. As Dean mentioned there, Bellegarde's obviously the main talking point because people have got kind of fairly strong opinions about him and what he's shown so far in the Wolves shirt. And like Dean says, some people still have hope that he will provide something. My hope with him is fast draining out. So I thought I wasn't too enamoured that he was starting. But I was glad that Hwang had got a start because, I think as we'll probably no doubt talk about, he's starting to provide again more in the Wolves shirt. And then Dawson, was the obvious choice, just depending on where in the back line he was going to play. But overall, I'm still optimistic going into the game. But as you mentioned, Dragusin had passed it, so suddenly the back line didn't look as bad as it might have been going into the game. What we thought, I still thought it would have been nice if Strand Larsen could have started, because him against Archie Gray would have been a bit of a mismatch in my opinion, like in our favour. But then, that forward line is. I know Son's not been at his best lately, and Solanke hasn't really fired much, but it's still on paper quite a strong forward line. So while I was still optimistic, I still thought, we've got to be on our guard here with them going forward, because as we know and as we did see, there's lots of goals in Tottenham's games.
Rich, what was your sort of thoughts on Bellegarde getting the nod yesterday? Is he a victim of circumstance, or is the Premier League just not fit for the way his ability probably lays?
I don't know. I suppose he's had a pretty bad injury, didn't he? Which really kind of hit him for quite a while. But I don't know. I just don't know whether he suits Wolves or whether he's just not good enough for the Prem, to be honest. And it's a shame. He looks like he puts effort in 1 minute and then jogs around doing bugger all the next minute. It's a bit of a strange character. But he's been getting. It's another manager in. Another one's giving him a chance to have a bit of game time. But it's only a matter of time before he's probably taken out the rotation side and sits on the bench. But yeah, I think resting like Larsen and Guedes, who've put a shift in lately, it's probably justified in the end. But obviously then coming on with the changes, obviously Larsen later on. But yeah, I would say, like you said earlier, about the weakened Spurs team. Jesus, it ain't weak, is it really? Let's be honest. It's Forrester, Gray and Bentancur are really the only ones that aren't kind of in all the time. So, yeah, I think it's a relatively strong side. And obviously, if we can rotate, and we think we can rotate, great. Why not?
Yeah, I think, but on the back of Leicester away and the amount of effort that they put in to get that win over Man United, rotation was probably something that needed to be carried out. Like Price said, I never really envisaged that there was going to be that many rotational changes, but it's nice that he's able to actually put trust in some of these players to come in out of the shadows for a game like this yesterday, because I think it got to a degree under Gary O'Neill that he just became. You could talk about his tactics or whatever. He clearly had no trust in his playing staff as a whole. I think that's why you ended up seeing the same players week in, week out. And I don't know what that saying is about. It's insane to keep doing the same thing over and over again. But that's how it became under Gary O'Neill. Obviously, Pricey in that away end, Wolves got off to a quick start. I think it's just over the 7th.
I know, yeah. Do you know what? It's surprising. Always surprises me when we come up with this sort of routine. Historically speaking, we don't really do too many. One of the best free kick routines I remember seeing was bloody Ait-Nouri Ketsbaya about 25 years ago against Sheffield Wednesday. So we don't tend to come up with too many of them. But I remember listening to Pereira after the game, and he said that one of his coaching staff had just came up to him and said, "I think we should try doing this." And I'm sure he won't be buying a drink this week, because for him to suggest it during the week and the first game that comes after that, we do it executed perfectly and we score a goal from it. Fantastic. I mean, I was just expecting a clip ball in the box, as suggest probably every other Wolves fan in attendance and watching would have anticipated the same. But such a good finish from Hwang as well. Like I say, he's got his first start. He's been dropped in, has to probably do a specific role, and he's just took that. It kind of reminded me in a strange kind of way, but like the Ruben Neves goal that he scored against Villa a couple of seasons ago, where the ball's come across, and he's put it to a spot where Forster's never going to get. I mean, Forster doesn't really strike me as an agile keeper anyway. He's probably the definition of a stiff keeper, but I don't think any decent keeper will be getting that. So all credit to the backroom staff on that one, on whoever suggested it, and fair play, they've worked on it, and it's come up with the right tree. And I think it's always great when something worked off the training ground gets applied properly into a game. And I was on cloud nine at that moment. I just thought we were gonna. Again, this is my pre-match naivety, optimism kicking in. I thought we were gonna get a second shortly after that. I thought we were gonna. I thought we was on the path to a win there. But yeah, at that point, away end was loving it. I was loving it. I thought it was in dreamland.
Yeah, we did start off well. I mean, you've already mentioned Tamori Katsubai, and we put out on our Twitter about an hour ago some of our favourite free kicks that Wolves have scored over the season. I'm going to run through a few of them now. You can have a quick watch this video.
But it's Andy Thompson who's invited to let fly, deflected, it's 2-0.
The 17-year-old rookie, though, was beaten after 17 minutes. Ketspire marked his debut with a well-worked free kick to give Wolves the lead.
Neves. Oh, Gem! All gold Gem! Hear the place! Molyneux in all its magnificence!
Some special free kicks there, Dean. And there's a few people have already come with their comments that we should have put in maybe like Dave Jones at home to Stoke, Neves away to Cardiff. What's some of your favourite free kicks in a Wolves shirt?
I really like that Neves one against Arsenal at home because it's very central. And then you've also got the Cardiff one, which was Neves. It's hard to think on that's not Neves at the minute. These past kind of few years, you've got the stuff that just gets you all over the shop. But
I didn't even throw any Simon Osborne ones in. It's just my mind's frazzled. It's just all Neves.
There is actually that many that you could pick. Like there's probably a couple of candidates. There's the Lee Naylor one where he drills it bottom corner, just out of nowhere. There's a couple of Barry Douglas you could whack in as well. Sacco. Like there's a few. It's endless. The Neves ones are probably the stick-outs for me because it's just recency bias more than anything.
There was a bit of a mirrored version with the O'Hara one at West Brom, that Hwang goal yesterday. Sort of peels away from the back line, sort of a slide ball pass horizontal to him, and he's just whipped it lovely. Rich, your thoughts on Hwang's free kick and maybe one of your favourite Wolves free kicks from the past?
Yeah, you can't go far wrong with Neves, to be fair. I know it's recent memories as such, but yeah, I thought my memory goes a little further back, but it's blank as usual at the moment. But as for Hwang at the moment, it's a great finish, isn't it? Let's be honest. I think anyone else in the top six scores that goal there. It's great to be able to do that. And I think it surprised us, let alone, obviously, the defence. Like Adam's saying, you expected a clip in the box, really. But yeah, fair play to him. Take the strike on. Bit of confidence, which you didn't think he probably had, because he hasn't been great as such this year, in and out with injuries and struggling with form. But yeah, fair play to the kid. Fair play. That's quality. Yeah, it's just what we needed as well to start the game. So,
but yeah, with Hwang, like if you was to list all the players on the Wolves start 11 who you'd think they'd knock it to on the edge of the box, he'd be fairly low down for me.
Yeah.
So there's no surprise it's caught them by surprise that it's Hwang that's pinged it in from the kind of 20 yards or whatever. Because you always expect him to be this kind of finisher in the box, the 18-yard striker. If he's in front of goal, you expect him to bang it, but you don't picture Hwang with these slotted finishes. It's like a proper FIFA finesse finish into the bottom corner, isn't it? But yeah, I didn't expect them to roll it to him at all. I thought he was on the edge of the box just to try and, because he's got pace to cope with any counter attack, not for a routine to have a shot from 20 yards.
I mean, let's be for a lot of bodies, like you said, Rich. Not many goalkeepers are getting anywhere near that, and thankfully, Wolves managed to take the lead pretty early on. And like Price said, we came out the traps pretty quickly yesterday. We turned them over a couple of times. We probably got in some good areas. Ryan Ait-Nouri probably could have done a bit better in a few of the wide areas that he got himself into in the first sort of quarter of the game. But a bit later on in the first half, Tottenham were able to bring it back to 1-1 with our Achilles heel from a corner. Rodrigo Bentancur with a free header. Defence a bit lackluster there, Dean.
He's got a free run. There's three Tottenham players standing there. Two follow the other two, and just no one's with Bentancur. He just runs completely unaided to get a run on it. Like you'd think, like they've been so good, and I'm putting it down to a brain fart and not by design. Like because it's just baffling that the man mark. There's only three of them that are together. So even if you are hybrid zonal and man, those three all need a man-to-man on them. Everybody else can go zonal, especially when we leave more or less everyone back. No one's on the halfway line. The furthest forwards, like the edge of the box, which is a rant for another day on leaving one person up. They've got to leave two back, etc., etc. But it's just bluff and double bluff all the time, isn't it? But yeah, that was from a defensive point of view. Just to give someone a free run on the edge of the 6-yard box was criminal.
It wasn't much long after that they had another free header from the next corner, did they? Which went just wide of Jose Sar's right hand post. But was there anything that you would have wanted Wolves to do better, Rich, in that set piece area yesterday? I think you're on mute, Rich. You're on mute, Rich.
My bad. Apologies.
All right, it's me tonight, guys.
Yeah, it's me. It's fine. I was going to say it's just a bit of a painful viewing. Again, it's not the first and it won't be the last time we concede from a dead ball situation or a corner. It's been our Achilles heel, isn't it? Is that, how many knows is that now? 18, 19 or something daft that we've come from dead balls? It's a lot. It's a lot. So not great defending, but again, switching off for a millisecond in the Prem. Again, the front 3 and 4 they're kind of having that's floating around. They're decent enough to punish us. And yeah, like you said, with the zonal marking, we probably haven't done much on the training ground to allow us to really get together. Obviously, January we'll probably buy a couple of centre halves potentially to freshen up. But yeah, really poor, to be honest. But unfortunately, that's what we've come to expect from our defence this year, which is not ideal.
Yeah, I think we missed Strand Larsen, didn't we, for that physicality on set pieces yesterday. I think he may have been able to get across that flat cross that came in from Pedro Porro. But how did you feel within the stadium, Price, once they actually got that equaliser? Did you feel like we could still go on to get something, or did you feel the tide had turned at that point?
It certainly was a bit of a buzz killer, to be honest. Like you say, it was probably about 6-7 minutes after Hwang's goal. So we were all still obviously quite in a fairly jovial mood at the time. And then, yeah, it's what Rich just said. It's just that same old problem again. It's obviously something that's dogged us all season, and even with Vitor turning up and the coaching staff, it's obviously something that's not going to go away that quickly. It's annoying and how it came about, and then I don't know, just kind of he really just took the buzz out of the crowd from the away end anyway, because it's just we thought that because we get such an early goal, we thought we might press on and really stick it to Tottenham, but the first half seemed to go completely the opposite way. Actually, when we scored, we're not talking about the second goal just yet, but even from the first goal and just around that time, it just felt as though we'd lost a little bit of control of the game a little bit. So certainly from an attacking sense, general possession play was good, but it just kind of really took the sting out of the Wolves away end, really, from just conceding so quickly.
Did you perceive Dawson played in that first half, Pricey? Because obviously watching it, listening to it on local radio, it didn't seem like he had the greatest game yesterday.
No, I think recently he's been he's not been the Dawson of last season whatsoever, or certainly since when he first joined us. He seems to be. I know he had an injury. He had a bad injury last season. Whether that's still affecting him to some degree, I'm not sure. But he just doesn't look like the same player as old. He's looking all of his 35 years, and it just seems like now he's the sort of player who shouldn't. If we're looking to progress and go forward, I don't think really Craig Dawson should be starting for us at this day and age. I know he's had to yesterday through circumstance, but it does seem there's a reason why we want to strengthen at the back line and ASAP. It just seems sometimes where he's just not been that commanding presence which he was previously when he first joined. I suppose to some degree, you look, we've had a good couple. Since he's been with us, he's generally been good for us.
Yeah.
But perhaps it's no surprise that after the bad injury he's had, he's not looking the same, and now he's not up to the levels required. There's no shame in that, really.
I think
really
we've definitely had
frustrating.
our money's worth out of him. I think we've had our money's worth out of him. Like you mentioned, the injury. I'm not sure whether he's sort of his physicality's any different to before the injury. Because I mean, he was never really like Kyle Walker pace, was he, or like an absolute man mountain of a physical centre half? But like you said, how long he was out with that injury. And he's not really had like a solid defensive partnership, and now he's been asked to play left centre back. He just seems to be so short of any like rhythm at the moment. It does seem that he is going to struggle to keep his place in this team at the moment because, give him his credit again, guys. The last 3 games now, I think Matt Doherty's been more than respectable for where he's played, and I don't know a better player value for money, pound for pound, than Matt Doherty in the history of this club. You could talk about sort of João Moutinho, £5 million, but what Matt Doherty's given this club and the moments he's given us, and being made a scapegoat so many times and coming back from this, and now he's probably at the moment in the last 3 games probably maybe our best defender in the last 3 games, which means Santi's going to push him, but I think that over the last 3 games, I think he's probably been the standout of the back 3, and I can't really knock him. What's your thoughts on Dawson and Doherty, Rich?
Doc, yeah, well, I say 300 plus games for a club over a 13-year span, whatever. You can't knock the kid, to be honest. I think it's effort, and like you said, scapegoat wise, I've got no issue with Doherty at all. And last 3 games, he's really shown up and done a cracking job at a position that he shouldn't be playing at, and fair play to him. So, yeah, he links up well. But as for Dawson, my concern is I don't think he's lost any physicality. He wins every header still, and he's tough enough for it still. But my concern is some of the balls he passes back to Sarr. They're really, really bizarre. Either short to him or he's stinging him back. It's just, it then allows Sarr a little bit to dally on it and not. I'd rather Sarr smash it long. And yeah, it's strange, really. Like you said, he's not really done anything wrong, Dawson, for us. But I know whether Father Time's finally caught him and caught up with him pretty quickly. And I guess that can happen to a professional footballer. But again,
there was a few times in that first half, wasn't there, where the balance was completely off. They were pressing Ait-Nouri quite high. So when Dawson didn't have the simple left-footed pass to Ait-Nouri, he was cutting back inside. He was either going to Jose Sarr, or he was trying to switch it long to Semedo or Bellegarde, and inevitably he was coming back to us more than often. I haven't really got any pictures or a clip of the Tottenham penalty. I'll come to your opinion on that, Dean, because obviously Price would have been down the other end, so it would have been a really clear view. What was your thoughts on the Tottenham's penalty? I thought it was harsh. I'm probably saying I want a penalty if it's the other way around, but I don't see how a player can forcibly orchestrate his body going in that direction with no intention of getting to the ball and he wasn't going to get the ball afterwards.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Like he's manufactured and manipulated the situation just to dangle his leg in front of Andre. He knows exactly what Andre's doing. Andre can't see him. He's come from his blind spot, and he's not even in control of the ball. Like people have used the comparison with the Semedo one for us, Ipswich at home, where the goal got disallowed. The difference with that for me is that Semedo had control of the ball. If the keys didn't clatter into him, Semedo would have cleared the ball.
You made Southampton there, in you?
Yes, Southampton. Yeah, so. But Johnson was never getting the ball. It was never going to happen at all. Like, there was no way.
I think Santi's ushering out for a goal kick. If you look at the clip, the
ball's
earlier.
Right there. It's never happening. Like it's a horrible decision. But Anthony Gordon's made a career out of it so far. It's like you just get yourself in the way and feel contact to go down. But just to kind of circle back on the Doc and Semedo thing, Doc and Dawson, sorry. Doc probably is, I agree with you, pound for pound probably is the most value for money signing we've had, because if you consider, signed him for what, 75k, then we sell him for 12 million, then get him back on a free. So like he's actually like profitable for us, plus all these games, plus all these memories. And then Dawson, I've kind of heard that he's not training much these days because of his fitness, and obviously that groin issue, it still niggles him. So if he's in like the Ledley King territory now, where you're just kind of barely training all week and then sitting on the bench, and you ain't in your rhythm, like someone said, you're not in your rhythm of defending, you're not getting that feel for the game, feel for the ball. When you get to that age, you do need to be playing week in, week out to keep your body there. As soon as you stop, like it's just one of them things where you just seize up and it's hard to get going again. But yeah, back to the pen. I think it was a horrible decision. It's never a penalty. I think if it's the other end initially, you're screaming for it. If it's for us, but then when you see the replay, you're like, yeah, all right, fair enough. I can see why that wasn't given.
Yeah, obviously you mentioned on the Wolves Fancast Twitter earlier that we've got a new penalty goalkeeping coach in the face of Hwang, and if you look at the video here, you can see Hwang at the bottom of the screen as Heung-min Son's leading up for the penalty. Pretty much shouting to Jose Sa, dive left, and he took an age to take the penalty, didn't he? And thankfully Jose Sa made the save down low to his right. Nice moment for Jose Sa there, Rich.
Yeah, can't complain really, can we? To be honest, it's pretty cool. Good penalty save, and yeah, I like to think he's done a bit of research beforehand. But yeah, fair play to him. Obviously, Hwang knows him inside and out. But yeah, it's good to get a save. Probably a good savable height, but he's still got to go the right way and guess it. So yeah, justified, for a mistake, for a penalty that wasn't really the penalty, to be honest. But it's still not the worst penalty given this weekend as such for the Premier League, is it? But we'll probably talk about that another time because the Ipswich game tonight. But yeah, it's
a bad one. I had a ridiculous one tonight, and I'm told that they're leading Chelsea 2-0 as we're recording this. So it's
absolutely comical. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, just lucky that we managed to get away with it. Really, I think he's pretty decent penalty save. I don't know how many he saves off the top of my head, but he always seems pretty good at stuff like that. This is bread and butter, obviously shot stopper and such. But yeah, poor pen really in the end. But yeah, great save, job done. Yeah, got off that really a little bit lightly with that because I think at 2-1 we start to stress a bit more and maybe panic a little bit more. But yeah, it's all right. It's all good.
Closest thing to celebrating a goal, Price, a goalkeeper saving a penalty at the opposite end.
Yeah, and I've got no reason to back my optimism up with him saving penalties because I actually don't think he has saved many for us, to be honest. So it might be. I think it might be his first one. I'm not listening to the Wolves.
He's done a few. I think there was Mitrovic. There was the Morgan. Brennan Johnson missed one for Forest when Neves scored a penalty the other end. I think he's the problem with Sarr is he's give away more than he saved. I mean,
yeah.
I was a bit optimistic because I just thought he'd save it. I just thought exactly where he ended up putting it. I hope he dives that way. So and at the moment, I never saw. Obviously, my eyes were looking at the goal. I never saw Hwang at the time watching it live, trying to tell him where to dive, and Jagerson's efforts to try and stop him doing so. I was just confident. I thought he'd save it. So delighted. I don't know. Whenever the Wolves get given a penalty against us, I just generally expect them to, whoever the team is, I generally expect to score it. To be honest, so generally a nice thing for him to save it. And again, I think that gave our crowd a bit of optimism again. I think that we could go on and win the game. I think because, like Rich said, we got away with that one a little bit, but obviously it wasn't long after that went to 2-1 anyway.
Yeah, unfortunately, we'll have to come on to it because I think the fact that the referee gave the penalty was the reason Craig Dawson recalls his challenge, who lays it back to Brennan Johnson, who has an easy finish to make it 2-1 to Tottenham in the first half injury time, but probably an avoidable goal there, Rich.
Yeah, it is a bit. I think on the back foot a little bit. I guess he's not the quickest player to get back in the position, but he should be cutting that out. But you look at, I think it's Gomez trying to get back in as well. He's not doing it as well. Again, there's so many people out of position. It's a mistake. And again, it's Premier League, you get picked on and that, they're going to pick you off and score and take those kind of things. So yeah, credit to Spurs for finishing it. Really, to be fair, it's our mistake and they punished us. So yeah, at that point, you start thinking, oh God, okay, hope we can get back into this now. And yeah, half time, come a good time for us, I think, in the end.
Your thoughts on that second Tottenham goal, Dean?
I pretty much echo what everyone said. It was kind of easily avoidable, but it was very much that's what handball is, isn't it? They just try and cause chaos, move people about, get people out of position, and just try and ping the ball about to try and create spaces. So I would have liked one of the centre midfielders to attract Brennan Johnson better, as Rich said. But at the same time, it's one of them. Sometimes you have to just say, you know what, they've moved it quick. They've what everyone's got about. They've pinged it about decent. Yeah, Dawson probably should have took everything. But again, I do think you're right where he was kind of thinking about if I miss this, I'm having an early bath kind of thing. So he probably has backed out a bit, but that could be his confidence as well. He's not playing, he's not match sharp, so he's thinking, I don't back myself there. But easily avoidable. But at the same time, you just kind of you can't stop every goal. So if someone's going to score, you'd rather them work for it, which it looks like they have. It's not like the ones we've conceded where we've just chucked it in at the back post from a corner. It was a decent bit of play.
Yeah, I think he was disappointing. There was a chance for him to put a foot in, but like I said, maybe he was nervous to dangle the leg, having seen what Andre had given against him. We talked about the sort of the balance on our left side in that first half was a bit off, and I think Townley in the comment section just said, I don't know, I think Dawson just got dog walked, and I don't think he's too far off for that point. I think Kulusevski had him pretty much run ragged a lot in that first half. But yeah, it was disappointing to go in behind at half time. But under this new manager, there does seem to be a bit of dog fighting us, and there's still a bit of resilience, which had probably gone astray in the previous weeks under Gary O'Neill. As I mentioned earlier, thanks for joining myself, Dean Pricey, and Rich on tonight's Wolves Fancast in association with Sports Social Podcast Network. We're going to have a quick break now for our audio sponsors, and then we'll be back to discuss the second half. Welcome back to the Wolves Fancast with myself, little Dan, Pricey, Dean, and Rich. Second half, substitutions probably needed to be carried out a lot quicker than we probably envisaged them being carried out after Gary O'Neill and his one substitution phases for so long had occurred. But at half time, Vito made quite a few changes. It was quite a shock, wasn't it, to see Matheus Cunha go off along with Bellegarde, and on came on Strand Larsen and Guedes. There was a picture of Matheus Cunha a bit later on in the game with an ice pack on the back of his leg. Vito Pereira said Matheus felt something in the first half. He said he was uncomfortable and was unable to sprint. Maybe he's not serious, I hope. It was announced after the game also that Totti Gomez is out with a hamstring, possibly out for a month. And Andre came off a bit later on in the game, and that was down to overload, according to Vito Pereira. What was your thoughts on the halftime subs, Pricey, when you saw that Cunha had come off?
Well, it's never great seeing him come off, because he's our talisman, isn't he? So, well, I mean, how do you say best? The cynic in you might say that it's a great time for him to get an injury. If if the FA get back to work, either in the next coming days, and we finally find out what's going to happen with this potential ban. So it's funny that an injury might coincide with that, so he might be unavailable anyway. But I was pleased that this might shock some long-standing listeners because of what I've said about Gonzalo Guedes for the past couple of years. But I was pleased that Guedes come on. Dean's in the fan club, because I used to slate him quite a lot, but I'll always stand by it. I think he was justified back then. But you have to say this season that he has been a bit of a bright spark this season. For whatever reason, I think we've seen probably more of the Gonzalo Guedes that we'd signed a couple of years ago that we thought we were getting. Because I find that when he gets the ball, he just makes a beeline towards the goal. He likes to drive forward, and that then drives the team forward. So I was happy that he would come on, because again, I thought Bellegarde was fairly useless. Again, if I'm completely honest, it wasn't. Again, maybe it's a symptom of him not really nailing down an actual position since he's been at Wolves and has been moved about a bit. But for whatever the reasons are, it's not working for him. It hasn't been for a while. So the one I was most pleased about, obviously, was Strand Larsen, coming on for what I said earlier about him being that presence up front of being that target man, and he plays that role so well. Being the actual stereotypical target man, because we were still playing some long balls towards Hwang, and he doesn't really compete for the high balls. He just backs into the defender, really trying to put them off. So now we've got Strand Larsen up front, and I think he won loads of headers from what I saw second half. And then Andre coming off, I'm not surprised is overload, to be honest, because I think last few games, certainly since Vitor's been here, I think we've been seeing the reason why we've probably gone out and got in, even though we all kind of agree at the time that it wasn't a priority position for us to get. I've been really impressed with him. I was really impressed with him yesterday. I've been impressed with him the last couple of games. And to me, I think, when Lamina gets past fit again, I would have to, if I was the manager, I'd have to say you're going to have to expect some time on the bench now for you, because I don't see how Lamina gets back into the team over Joao Gomez and Andre. It was quite a big call to make, but I think it would be the right one. But yeah, so mixed bags with subs really. Not happy seeing Cunha coming off. If there's going to be hopefully the injury's not too long with that one, but pleased with how Guedes and Strand Larsen coming on.
I've not heard anything to suggest this, but I've got an opinion. I think Lamina will be sold in January. I think they'll get him off the wage books. I think the midfield's pretty stacked at the moment. I think Bubakar Traore is due to be back in training in the next sort of few weeks. That gives you sort of four centre midfielders to play with. Joao Gomez, Andre, Tommy Dorlu did okay when he came on yesterday, and Bubakar. And I think we all know that the defensive area is the area we need to improve literally from the moment the window opens on January the 1st, especially with Totti being out for what could be like 4 to 6 weeks, depending on what diagnosis you read. How did you see the second half play out, Rich, before we actually managed to get hold of that equaliser? Because I thought Ryan Ait-Nouri did well in the second half. There was a Fancastrian in our WhatsApp group who was quite adamant that Ryan Ait-Nouri should have been substituted at half-time. I'm not sure who we thought we could bring on when we've got literally no left wing back in the club since Hugo Bueno's gone out on loan, but I thought Ryan Ait-Nouri was key to the way we moved the ball and got forward in the second half.
Yeah, well, he offered obviously with his assists going forward, which is a nice change. He's obviously done something. Again, his tricks can obviously frustrate you a little bit with his little flicks, and he's got to do what he does, but he brings their defence, he puts them on the back foot. He does want to drive a little bit of people, but I want to echo a little bit more on, like we say, Guedes coming on. I think, like what Adam was saying, it's his first mind is to go to goal. He is trying to attack. He's putting them on a back foot, making them think. Obviously, you've got them runners from behind. He makes things happen, which, again, if you'd talked about this last year, you'd be falling off your chair laughing, saying, I don't think that's going to be happening. So I'm happy that the lad's turned his form and his look around the club, and I hope he kind of kicks on into another gear, because they were even talking on TalkSport about him today, which is quite nice, with Gabby even saying he was decent, which is unusual because obviously he didn't say anything about us. It's positive. But yeah, with some of the subs coming on as well, Andre with the load, obviously he's not surprised. The last 2 games have been hectic for our squad as such. We've got a smallish squad, really. We don't, he has rotated, but that's more through trying to find positions for people rather than best players in position itself. But yeah, I was happy with who come on off. Obviously, the worry to start was it's a bit of a strange decision to bring Cunha off. Okay, he must have done it for a reason, but yeah, obviously, he's got a bit of a knock. So light relief, but also like you were saying as well, FA Cup run. Hopefully, he can have a couple of weeks of holiday, rest, and it's not too serious really. So yeah, just kicked on, which is nice.
Be interested to see what defensive lineup Vitor actually puts out for that Bristol City game, because you'd expect at least one of Pedro Lima or Bastian Moipuyu to play in that game. But who knows? He may end up being forced into playing both of them just to give our current backline a bit of respite. What was your thoughts on the second half, Dean?
I think it was very much a bit of a meh, like kind of second half, wasn't it? Like
Tottenham never really felt like. I never felt like Tottenham was inevitably going to score. I think Kulusevski had one chance where Jose Sarr came out a bit erratically, but I always felt like, if anyone, we were going to be the team that got the equaliser. We had a few set pieces which never really fizzled into anything worthwhile. But go on.
They looked nervous. Spurs did. They were trying to play it out because they didn't back themselves to kind of exert their authority. It was very much kind of the game was just meandering its way out. They were like kind of who's gonna go first, and then obviously Vitor did with his changes. Obviously,
I thought Ange got his subs wrong.
Yeah, he did. He did. Like, it was very much like that. They tried to do, but those are the subs I pictured Gary O'Neill making a few months ago when he was at Wolves, just trying to kind of see the game out or doing it for the sake of it. Whereas, like, there was impetus, there was genuine reasons, and you could see why certain players would come on, and it was for an attacking intent. It was kind of, okay, Andre's overloaded, let's get Doyle on. He can spray the ball a little bit better. In theory, that's his skill set. And then the last two subs was kind of, let's get Forbs and Rodrigo on some genuine pace. If Spurs still want to do this high line, then we're going to be at them. We're going to give our players the scope to get forward and chase that equaliser. But it was a bit of a funny second half. Again, from the radio, it sounded a funny second half. But yeah, I did always back us, and I had a feeling like we can get something here. I never thought it's done that. They're going to shut up the shop, and we're not going to be able to knock down the door.
A few people are querying my Mario Lamy in the comments for a few minutes in the last comment. So RJ says,
I will back you on that a little bit, because he's got genuinely his contract's up in the summer, and we've got an option to extend it by a year. So if I'm Mario and I'm not starting at this part of his career, would he want to stay? Like, I know it's our option, but the club will have a conversation with him. And I think if whenever you put anything on social media that mentions Mario, there's Galatasaray fans all over it. And there is rumours there that they want him back. So I think if we want to move the wages from Mario to a centre back, I think I know which one I'd rather be. As good as Mario's been for us in his kind of 18 months, 2 years, I still think there is scope that if there's money there, I don't think he wouldn't want to sit on the bench as much as we wouldn't want to pay somebody top dollar to sit on the bench, which is Sarabia falls into the same category a little bit.
There must be a level of embarrassment for him going into the dressing room and on match days when he's not got that captain's armband there. And I think I don't really know anyone who's suggesting that Lamine is starting in front of Andre and João Gomez at the moment. I've already mentioned the backup that we've got with Tommy Doyle. We've talked about Mario's how long he's got left on his contract. He's always being linked to Galatasaray. It could be a chance for him to earn a good wage. Either he goes back to Turkey or maybe elsewhere. Like I said, I've not heard anything to suggest that there's anything imminent. I just feel like we could free up our squad, both salary-wise and being able to bring in a non-EU player. Same with Pablo Sarabia as well. I'm not sure where he fits in this team at the moment, but his fitness is really not giving him a chance to try and impact this squad at the moment. As the game drew on, and we were still losing 2-1, Vitor rolled the dice, bringing on two Portuguese wingers, out-and-out wingers with pace, Rodrigo Gomez and Forbs. What was your mindset and what was your review on Forbs' price from inside the ground?
Well, I mean, with Dawson coming off, I thought, well, that shows a bit of attacking intent there to, put two pacey players on and put what in place of Dawson, and obviously Hwang probably hasn't started that much for us, so probably the amount of time we got on the pitch was about right. But the second half, I just thought, I think we had a lot of the ball, but I don't think we really had. I mean, over the course of the game, I think we only had 3 shots on target and we scored 2 of them. Apologies if my stats are out, but that's what I saw. And I thought second half, we read a lot of the plays. As we've said, Ait-Nouri had a lot of the ball. He tends not to. He's not a first time cross with the ball as the Ait-Nouri. He tends to put his foot on it, stop, try and come inside. We did see him do quite a lot of that in the second half. And like you say, like the Dean said, that the game's kind of just drawing out with no real great events in it.
Similar to the first half, we was getting into good wide areas. Carlos Forbes smashed one across the 6-yard box, which Fraser Forster managed to sort of kick away with his feet. But like I said, apart from set pieces, which fizzled out, we never really looked like we were going to be able to carve them up and where we price.
And that's the thing. Like what I said earlier, when you mentioned Forster again there, that's what I thought. He's not a top level keeper. I mean, he used to be great when he does some great moments when he played for Celtic back in the day and everything, but now, he's clearly back up for a reason. Like I say, he's not a mobile keeper. I would have thought we'd be putting more pressure on him. Some of the kicks yesterday, he couldn't barely kick a ball straight and barely get it off the floor. Sometimes Forster, he's just not. Obviously, Spurs fans must dread seeing his name constantly in the team, and I thought we should be taking advantage of this. I thought we should be trying to get more attempts on goal, really, and pressure and really pressing that advantage home. But for whatever reason, we took our time with the build-up play. We stuck to the game plan, and I have to say, fair play to Ait-Nouri for spotting Strand Larsen's run for the goal. So yeah, showing it now on screen for the YouTube viewers. I mean, I think that's just a great spot. Look at that. I mean, it's fantastic how he spotted it. And what about that for a finish? I think he said in the post-match interview himself that his first split-second inclination was to put it across goal, but didn't see anyone, so he thought he'd have a go. And it's a great goal. I mean, it's. I know beat Forster is near post, but I think that's come quite a pace. And that was that was 87 minutes, and I still thought even then we could probably maybe then again the optimism will come back into me then. So I thought we could just go on and try and win the game.
There was a lot of injury time, wasn't there, on the back of that goal? I think like Samaida was down for quite a bit. I think was it 8 minutes injury time that the full official brought up. But like you said, the vision and the pass from picking the wrong video here. The vision and the pass from Ait-Nouri cutting in from the left, and you can see sort of Larsen just jump away from Archie Gray, who tries to play the offside trap, and like you said, Fraser Force is an absolute unit, but high with a lot of power. Tidy finish, Rich.
Yeah, it's one of them positions. Hard and low there is difficult, but it's even harder when you go top right or top left. It's just you can't get your hands up in time. Great strike, power, pace on the ball, great run, great vision for the pass. And yeah, well, I'll say not out of nowhere. We had like 70% possession at that point for about a 15-20 minute period where we looked like we could do something. But again, like you said, the final third wasn't quite happening for us. But yeah, can't take away from Strand Larsen, to be fair to him. It's just a great strike. And again, at number 9 we needed, holds the ball at wow, does everything we need him to do, runs his ass off. And yeah, like him a lot. I think he's brilliant. So yeah, more from him would be fantastic right now. So he's offering quite a lot for us. You've been blowing Strand Larsen's trumpet, Dean, quite a lot this season, giving him a lot of praise. Yeah, I went with it. Go with it. Pause. I was a bit not derogatory. I was harsh on him after the Leicester game. I think he was, or maybe I think it was Man United game actually. But his work rate and his goal output this season has been good value for money.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think it's hard to the context behind it, like first season in the league, etc., etc. I know someone says a lot about it, but he has come from La Liga, so it's kind of it's not the most physical of leagues, especially like they haven't got the big dominant centre halves that we have here. So he probably had to adjust a little bit, and I think he's adjusted quite well. And I think there's a stat that I think we put out in the week where it was you got to watch these Scandies. But yeah, I think he's like most hold-ups in the league or something like that. He's done like 18 or something silly, which is, I know people that you see it on Twitter and stuff. I know Twitter's a bit of a cesspit, but you see it where it's kind of his control's rubbish. You can't hold the ball up, but that's the stuff he's good at. Like you've got a big 6'4" centre forward. What do you want him to do? Hold the ball up, bring others into play, and take his chances. And that's exactly what he does. Like he'll press from the front. He gets in and around the box. He gets in around defence. Some of his finishes are so instinctive. Like the one that sticks to me is the Brentford one. So that Brentford where he's just going front of the centre half, he's flicked it with his outside of his right foot and put it into the corner. Like that is a proper striker's finish. And then that one yesterday as well. Like it's literally he's got the touch, controlled it with his one foot, weak foot, roof of the net. Like as a striker, there's nothing better than kind of just he's timed his run, he's bent it in between the two centre halves. And he's just one touch finish, bang. Like what more? As a striker, that's like your bread and butter. He's gone one way to take Archie Gray with him. Then he's come inside, split the two of them, one touch, bang, gone. Straight in. What more could you want from your number 9? Like I struggle to see what else people would want from him. He's done it. He's contributing goals. He's contributing to gameplay. It's not like he's just sitting in the box and finishing. He's literally his all-round game. He's contributing to our build-up, and it's good to see because we haven't had a proper number 9 like that since our prime role. You're on mute, Dan. You couldn't go to a show without it.
Couldn't do a show without it. I totally agree. I was harsh to him after the Man United game, and I neglected to remember that this is like his first 19 games in the Premier League. He's only going to get better for me. Like you said, his work rates is up there. He's definitely got an eye for goal. His link up plays. I think his link up play is very good when he's able to get bodies around him, which we weren't providing him earlier on in the season. I think him and Cunha built up a bit of a relationship, which then seemed to get a little bit fractured, I thought. But he's definitely the key to us to staying up this season, along with keeping Matheus Cunha fit and his creativity that he can bring. So yeah, the game, bar and a moment of absolute erratic madness, Rich, of Jose saw being given a simple back pass off Nelson Semedo from a set piece to launch. Just what was he doing, Rich? Is he what's he doing, Rich? You're a goalkeeper. What's going on in his mind at that moment, Rich?
I don't think he thinks that. I think that's the issue. He wasn't. He's looking at who's running forward. He's not even looking at the ball. So he's obviously miscontrolled it. It's bubbled off him. He's then running. Oh no, I'm going to have to either lunge into a tackle here, manage to clear it, obviously. But it's. I think that's the things that's been happening. Probably again, we've mentioned before since the Coventry game. The little mistakes and the switching off, the mentality is like, oh God, it's mental mistakes. We don't need to do it. Yes, maybe the back pass isn't great. Again, he could have just smashed it first time. Things again, but we didn't. We almost didn't get away with it, but we did. So I'm not worried about it. But he does tend to do this more often than not. But even we see some of the back passes that he had earlier in the day, he got away with a few flicks and turns, and fair play to him. He's got some confidence some days and not much the next. So yeah, I don't know. It's one of those strange ones. Excuse me, at the moment for him, but he's number one at the moment, and there's a reason for it, I guess. So yeah, we've got to deal with it.
Vitor mentioned that in his post match as well. That specific incident, he says one of the reasons he loves Sarr is, although he knows he cocked up on that one, a few minutes later he's coming out and he's not having a second thought. The mistake's gone. He's not hesitating. He's coming out and he cleared another one, which I think that is Sarr's just nutters. He's just bonkers, isn't he? He's just a crazy guy.
I can't really word it much better. Like I said, he's a tightrope goalkeeper, isn't he? He's going to win your games. He's going to lose your games with moments of madness. But 7 points from 9, Price. Happy at full time walking away with that.
Yeah, you've got to be, haven't you, really? I know we took the lead, but then find ourselves 2-1 down, and it's getting well into the 80 minutes. Like I say, at that point, you're thinking, well, while we had the possession, you're thinking, well, this is going to be a bit frustrating, but maybe like Vitor's first, half lesson in the Premier League, but they had the bag, and we could have even had a chance to win it with Doc's header late on. That old stiff Forster managed to get a hand to, but the Sarr madness aside of him seeming determined, he must have had Spurs on the coupon or something. But with that aside, like we were worth the result. It is a good result. I think it's a bit. I hate using this as a cliche, so I don't know why I'm saying it. But before the game started, if someone would have offered you a draw at Spurs, you would have took it. There you go. I even hate saying it, but there you go. And so get 7 points out of 9 when if you frame that in the context of where we were under Gary O'Neill when these quote unquote winnable games would come along and he was just losing them all one after the other, like the Ipswiches, Bournemouths, and all the rest of it. The turnaround has been pretty instant since Vitor's come in. For whatever reason, everyone's got their own sort of views on what Vitor has changed or otherwise. But the players just look like they're going to run through brick walls for Vitor at the minute. They just look like they're buying into everything that he's saying. I think Vitor seems to have simplified players' roles a little bit. Now Gary's iPad's been chucked into CEX for resale or something. And Vitor just keeping it all fairly simple. Set piece coach that kind of actually works in an attacking sense, as we saw yesterday. I think every Wolves fan's got to be delighted, to be honest, with what the work that he's done so far. I don't think anyone would have expected 7 points from these 3 games. I think maybe we would have said the win against Leicester and but not so much against Spurs and Man United. But to find the position that we're in now to end the year outside the relegation zone, it's great building blocks for what we all hope is a strong second half of the season in 25.
Yeah, a point above the relegation zone as it stands after Ipswich beat Chelsea 2-0 at Portman Road tonight. The other latest scores are Aston Villa 2, Brighton 2, and Newcastle still lead 2-0 at Manchester United, who Wolves are, as it stands, 6 points behind, probably call it 7 with the goal difference. I think Man United are bang on in trouble, and hopefully they do get dragged in, because I couldn't wish for a better team to get relegated from the Premier League. I mean, I suppose it would be nice if like Liverpool or Arsenal or Aston Villa got relegated, but I think probably bar Liverpool, I think Man United probably be the football club, the football community would appreciate getting relegated the most. But we're halfway through the season, and like you said, Price 7 points out of 9. The man at Tottenham Stadium yesterday, who was your Wolves man of the match?
You know, for the work that he got through, it's actually quite a close one, really. Because I thought between João Gomez and Andre, I thought they were fantastic in the middle of the park. I really thought they were great. And even though he come off a bit early to the workload, again, like I said before, I was so impressed with Andre. He gets my man of the match just because he's tenacious in the tackle. He was never, whoever was in the vicinity, Andre was on them straight away. I thought he had a great game. Like I say, it's just now we can see why we wanted to buy him. Even though, like I say, it wasn't a priority position, we're now seeing the best of him. I think he looks great, top player, great game yesterday.
Dean, your man of the match yesterday?
I would have gone Andre. So because Price had him, I'll go João Gomez. I think the two of them in the middle were great. Honourable mention for Santi as well.
Rich?
I'm going to go Vitor Pereira, and I know he didn't play, just for making his subs.
Oh, I was going to ask Price this. Obviously, you're probably a bit delirious at the time when Strand Larsen nearly takes the net off, but did you manage to see Vitor Pereira doing his Jose Mourinho touchline celebration yesterday?
No, I'm not gutted. I've been scouring Twitter, X, whatever, to try and find a clip of it. So I've heard about this, but no, I was too busy dancing about like a lunatic, so I didn't see it, and I wish I did.
Yeah, it's I can't say we've ever had a manager win man of the match, Rich, but it ain't a bad share, because like he did get his substitutions right for me yesterday. I feel like if you are chasing a game late on and you've got a centre forward like Strand Larsen, I think having 2 out and out wingers like Forbs and Rodrigo Gomez, who just want to get to their boots on the touchline and whip as many balls in as the box as they can, I think, because is a way forward. I think Carlos Forbes probably could have done a bit better with the chances that he had to run at Pedro Porro as the game run on, but maybe that'll be something that comes with more game time. But one question someone did ask in the comments section earlier, Dean, was who's better, Cunha or Forbes? Because there's a possibility that Cunha may be returning in the January.
I think if Cunha comes back, he'll go straight back out again. I can't see him staying around. I think he wants game time. Well, I haven't seen enough of Forbes to make a fair judgment. I did see the comment, and it is justified that Chiquinho's cross and Strand Larsen's aerial prowess does sound like a match made in heaven, but I haven't seen enough of Forbes. Forbes looks more direct and more foot on the ball, can go around players better than Chiquinho. I think they've got different skill sets. But I think, it's just too hard to judge Forbes. We haven't seen enough of him. I only seen him little bits at Ajax as well. So,
yeah, it'd be interesting to see what Vitor Pereira makes of Forbes in the small amount of time that he's been here. Still with the town, so I could see Forbes going out on loan. Sean Crowe, I thought Semedo had a good game. Steeway 89, we'd have been lucky to get a point under the gaslighter yesterday. Thanks for joining myself, Price, Dean and Rich on tonight's Wolves Fancast match review show after the 2-2 draw away to Tottenham. I'm just going to go and stick my my head out of the sand and I'm going right Ait-Nouri is my man of the match yesterday. I feel like you said, just Rich, with Jose Sarr, he's not afraid to go again. He may have made a mistake moments before, but I thought his drive in the second half with now Cunha on that second half pitch was the momentum that we needed to get something from that game. And his pass for the Strand Larsen goal was the key moment for us to get a draw yesterday. And I thought, like, you can't really question his efforts. I feel like he's always given his all. There's probably been a few moments under Gary O'Neill where he's probably been a bit disillusioned, but I don't think you can question the ability that he's got. And I'll always like the fact that he's got a bit of flair and he wants to do things a bit erratic like Jose Sarr probably does on occasion, which gets him a lot of plaudits from a lot of people. But yesterday we picked up 7 points from 9 and we move on to a game at home to Nottingham Forest a week today. 8 p.m. at Molineux. So that's going to be an interesting game as Nuno Espirito Santo brings his tricky trees to Molineux in second place. It's utterly bonkers, that is, isn't it, Dean? But similar to what he did for Wolves, he seems to have 12 or 13 players that he completely relies on and they all know their role to the absolute T.
Nuno super team. He's managed. He's like harnessed his kryptonite now. He's got Chris Wood. So it's like
if we'd have signed Chris Wood to replace the injured Raul, we wouldn't have had any of these issues, and Fosun would have still been able to fund us the way they should have done instead of spending £35 million on Fabio Silva.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game. But like Price said earlier, I'm going to do the cliche now. If you offered me a draw for Monday, I'll take it.
Would you agree with that, Price? I fancy us at Molineux now. I feel like the fans are back on side. So they've gone five wins they've won on the bounce now. So they've hopefully got to come to an end at some point.
Yeah, again, this is me probably just being naive and too optimistic again. But I feel we should go in there to win. I get it that they're the form team, and Nino's got like a replica of us from a few years ago when we was in the prime days. But you know, we're riding high. We're riding a wave of a good form, good results at the minute. So, you know what? I think it'd be a cracking game. You know, as a side comment, I think it'd just generally be a great game. I think there'll be some goals in it as well, to be honest. But I feel as though we've got to be looking to win that. I know the league table has us at opposite ends, but I think we've got to take our good vibes and good feeling into that game and be looking to win.
Yeah, it'll be a tasty game. Nottingham Forest, they'll probably sell all the bottom of the Steve Ball lower tier on that Monday. Nuno coming back to Molineux. Was this his first time back at Molineux since the Tottenham game? He wasn't at Forest last season. It was still Steve Cooper in charge, wasn't it? Yeah. So I mean that Tottenham game was still a bit meh at the time, wasn't it? I think there were still people not really fully invested in football after the COVID had sort of ended and whatnot. But tricky game next Monday. But I fancy us against any team at Molineux at the moment. I think the fans are back on side. I feel the players have got their belief back. I think Vita's got the tactical nous to set up to get a result from game instead of just let's get the ball to Cunha and hopefully he does something under the gaslighter. Before we end the show, we need to just do a quick bit of advertising. Be sure to have a look at our merchandise store. You can find it at wolvesfancast.tmail.com. Our Strand Larsen shirt did a few sales on the back of his scoring yesterday, so take a look at our website. There's some other good designs on there. Hwang, João Gomez, more Cunha shirts. Take a look at that. And we'll be back on Friday evening with the preview show for Monday's game at home to Nottingham Forest. We'll end it with myself, Rich, Pricey, and Dean wishing you all a happy new year for 22-5. Good night, God bless, and up the Wolves.